just tapping in with the video, and I wanted to follow up a little bit on my most recent video. I did a video talking about how I did two videos talking about romance. One saying that I think that so whoever you are, wherever you are all things that exist, had exist and shall exist, which is not entirely different. It might just be different positions within a cycle, maybe imminent to repeat. All that amounted to the appearance that we have that is you, and the experience that you have that is you, and your experience of others, which is also you. And from that sense, it could have been different, and it couldn't have been different, but it is, and what it is one, and then that's you. That I think that's the probability of you. The probability of you is one. After all the things that could interfere with you existing, and then all the things that could conspire for you to exist, what balance between that would just be one. And then maybe one can be all things, all numbers, all degrees, all fractions, all composites, all one, like I've said in another video, 1 and 1 can be 2, or it can 1 and 1 be again 1, and then maybe be none, just by that logic. But and so in anything with, you could maybe say that all of anything could be within that, if we appreciate the fact that what we have for an internet is made of ones and zeros, ones and nuns. But then with that, I said that, so that's how brilliant you are, as that's how romantic life is. And then I was thinking that, so if all these things had conspired, all conceivable eventualities, that's like things that actually happened, so all prevented and consummated and conceivable and possible eventualities, between that we have you. And then but in you coming into being, in the conditions that would amount to you, a lot of those conditions existed prior to the concept of you, and then during, and then yet again after. And so, but had that come to be, or nearly came to be, or not been, a lot of the precursors and the influences and the circumstances would still exist, had the concept of you come into exist, which we could say did and would and should, one. But it still exists on a level, whether or not, and until and not consummated, and after consummated. So you could say that some of our, and I've also said that I think that life is a prop for lovers. And two in love are not greater, no lesser than any other two in love, or what has come from two in love. So you could say that all this existence is just a prop for lovers, and your love, your true love, this is just a prop for your true love. And were your true love expressed or not, there's so many mitigating and complementary factors, and also dishonesty and honesty within that, and good faith acting and bad faith acting, and non-acting, that is really quite profound, that we get to enjoy love. But all I meant to say is that maybe some of your greatest experiences of love, and the identity of another lover and you, and the two of you as yet another identity, still exists, had exist, could exist, should exist, would exist, may and may not exist, according to different mitigating factors, complementary factors. And sometimes we do have things that are, and I would say that, and sometimes, but we do have things that can be appreciated as good and bad faith intentions within that. And that can, you can maybe say that, so I thought that maybe you could maybe anticipate almost anything to have existed, or calibrate anything that had existed and is existing, simply if you understood the cause at play. That's the efficient cause of something to exist. There may be more than one, likely more than one, because if we can appreciate anything, realities maybe are plural and diverse. But if you appreciated the cause, the cycle, and the that is the function, the algorithm, and then the variables, you could near about anticipate a lot of things. I said that I had another video where one day constant planes were flying over my neighborhood where they normally don't, and so you could appreciate that something within the air traffic control had changed that specific day. So just by that, I had seen about 100 go by in a couple hours. I can anticipate that within another few moments, another one would go by. And I did that in a video, and one went by sure enough, and I appeared like an oracle, but it didn't go, that video didn't go. But all I meant to say is that cycles are very significant and difficult to dispense with, if at all possible. I don't know if that's possible without initiating another cycle, but you do have cycles. So you can maybe say that you are a cycle yourself, and a function of a cycle, and a cause of a cycle. And some of your greatest and most daunting experiences are also within that range of a cycle. And what you get to experience and may not experience, or could have experienced, or should have experienced, or would have, is it's still within the realm of cycles. And we can say that life may be the cause of life that is imminent, is at play. And so what we have for free will is more so of a choice, and that is mitigating, that is bringing forth or preventing certain experiences of a cycle. But we could still say that the cycle is at play, and maybe something of that cycle is to be experienced at one point and another. And the expression of that is what is mitigated or affected by our conscious reasoning, which you could also say that anything that we experience of consciousness can be reasoned to be a function of subconsciousness, simply because it had been apprehended and presented by the subconscious mind. I think many would support me in that statement. And from that standpoint, even our experience of being conscious is yet a function of a deeper subconscious, where maybe sub wouldn't be the correct term, because that implies lower. So there's something called a super consciousness, and that you could say that it might be either subconscious, super conscious, and that at once. But it's yet beyond what we appreciate just in terms of conscious awareness. But there's so many things you perceive just as you open your eyes that you couldn't consciously survey and calculate and calibrate and search the depth of a lot of things. It's happening way more rapidly and profound than you can appreciate, as are most of the functions in our body, but it's still a cycle. And so I still think that maybe life is it's maybe like it's a beautiful painting, almost like if you imagine a book. Like sometimes there's these really cool books that were like scary books in the 90s called Goosebumps, and they had these really cool pictures on them, and the pictures were almost as cool, if not cooler, than the story. And they'd be at all the stores, and all of us loved those covers of those books, and then therefore the books, but the cover in the first place. And some of them, as the series went on, they would have like sophisticated, it was like before some of the role-playing games became as popular as they are now, where you could choose the ending of the story, that is the eventuality, the plot. And but yeah, in a certain sense, whatever you did choose, it had already been written within the book. But it's just you get to with your effort, your interest, and your reading, you get to experience that story differently. But you could maybe say that entire book, the entire story, had already been written, but your experience of what is already written is factored by your effort and your graces and your blessings and also your shortcomings. But through all that, you learn. The more important thing would be you learn through your choices, and your learning is more so yours because you had made these different choices that factor into your own learning. That might be the only thing that's yours. I once thought that the only thing that is ours is our love. The love in our heart is the only thing that belongs to us, that we cannot be separated from. But I would say maybe even deeper than that would be our learning is the only thing that's ours. And that's simply because it's a function of our choices and our effort and our tears and our sacrifices and our victories and our overcoming and our shortcoming, and so much at once. But all I meant to say is that maybe you could say that whatever is really you and yours exists for you, but your access of it, your experiencing of it, it's mitigated by both honesty and dishonesty, effort of yours and others, and it may be prevented. But if it does exist in an absolute terms as a cycle, you may taste what is really you and yours, and who are you and yours, and who loves you and what you love.